Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch Team is here with your latest update on Tropical Storm Agatha. This is currently where Tropical Storm Agatha is located, right here, as y'all can see. We do have some winds, 40-mile-an-hour sustained winds are now all the way around the entire center of circulation. The center of circulation is becoming more broad. What the heck? This pink area in here shows winds that are 50 knots or stronger, about 60 miles an hour. This is this little, I almost want to say triangle, like whatever this polygon thing right here is. Don't know what shape that is, can't think of it. Is right there, 60 mile an hour or stronger, and that's to the northeast, which is the most intense quadrant in all tropical systems: hurricane, typhoon, cyclone, tropical storm, tropical depression, storm or hurricane or major hurricane. Is in the northeast quadrant, and you can see the strongest winds are roughly in this area, the northern and northeast quadrants. As you can see, we have more convection on the west side and less on the east side. Also, I want y'all to notice where there are hurricane warnings in effect for the coast of Mexico up here, in the area where Agatha will become Hurricane Agatha, will then make landfall and bring winds as strong as 100 miles an hour. Some are saying, National Hurricane Center right here is showing right here. I'm gonna find my darn mouse. At 100 miles an hour, those gusts approaching some 120 miles an hour. Right here, they're showing at around 104, 105 miles an hour, gusting to nearly 130 miles per hour. So as y'all can see right there, what's that? Tropical storm. Oh, it says it was issued at 1800 UTC. So it should have been issued at midnight UTC. 998 millibars. Here we're saying 75 miles an hour. Time, maximum wind gust. I don't know why I keep saying 28, it doesn't really make any sense, but yes, that is what they are saying now. This is going to continue to make its way to the north and to the east, and to make landfall as a hurricane. And we will later look for potential development in this cone, right in this air cone, this polygon shape right here, where we could possibly even see tropical development from the remnants of this and try to sort of develop in this area here. And I do believe a upper level tropic is going to come down from cold front, move down, and it's going to stretch it and pull it up along the southern portions of Florida and possibly the Bahamas over there. So I do think that's a possibility of happening. Now again, right now, the biggest threats from this are going to be flooding and storm surge. The wind, yes, you're going to have winds at or near 100 miles an hour when you reach the core and the eye wall. Especially if you're in the northern or northeastern, you could see those winds peaking 105, maybe even 110 miles an hour, depending on how strong this is at landfall, with those winds gusting above 120 miles per hour. And I do think the biggest threat is certainly going to be storm surge. There's going to be a big deal of storm surge with this system. Absolutely, for sure. But right now, again, those winds are at around 50 to 60 miles an hour. Those winds gusting closer to 70 miles per hour. If we take a look at the forecast radii, they are certainly showing this approaching hurricane force here, and so very soon, as that approaches, there you can see the hurricane force wind field right here at northeastern Iowa in this region, and then it will weaken to a tropical storm, and then eventually it will weaken to a depression, and then we will see any kind of development of this once it makes its way over the southern Bay of Campeche and in the southern Gulf. I do want to take a look at any kind of, I want to look at the advisory too. So Agatha is expected to become a hurricane on Sunday. This is the latest update. Again, winds of 60 miles an hour, 95 kilometers an hour. That's 175 miles southwest of Puerto Angel, Mexico. Its movement is north-northwest at 5 miles an hour. So this is moving very, very slowly. I believe there is high pressure in effect, and it's going to cause it to move to the northeast. There's going to be a trough that's going to pull it up north, I believe. I am going to go... Where's the internet at? Can you work for me? Thank you, baby. Please, maybe. So I do want to pull up some graphics here. So this is what we got going on here. By, again, 1 a.m. Tuesday, it's going to be a storm by 1 in the afternoon on Monday. This will be making landfall. I will not be going to work on Monday. I have that day off. And I'm hoping that I will be able to do live coverage of this as this does make landfall there in Mexico. This should start speeding up as this makes its way to the north and to the east. I'm going to go to Tropical Tidbits and take a look and see what we got going on here. Trying to figure out why this is moving so slowly. I assume there's a ridge of high pressure in some area over here. I'm going to go to the east pack. So I'm not seeing a ridge of high pressure. There's this, because it's going to want to go north, because that's what they do, but it's pushing it south. It's going to cause it to slow down. And then it immediately takes it off to the north and to the east. I do think there's high pressure over here, but I do think it's going to make its way to the north and then off to the east. So as you can see here, just go to Western Atlantic. That's going to be a little bit better for us. I think this upper level trough, upper level low right here is going to try to develop. And that's what's going to help it pull it off to the northeast. Or in this case, going from here up through here, there's going to be a trough. You can kind of see it expanding right here. It's going to help it pull it northeast because it's a trough, a region of low pressure, and hurricanes go to an area where there's the least amount of resistance. You got to think of high pressure as mountains of air. You're not going to want to go over a mountain. You're going to want to go through the areas of least resistance. And so it goes through sort of a valley right here. And that's generally what this kind of is. And so it's just kind of going to be pulled up by the trough. And I think that it's going to, that's what's going to cause it to just blow in that direction. It's going to be much, it's not going to be, I almost said much weaker. It's going to be much quicker than if it wasn't. But again, winds are around 60 miles an hour. The air pressure is 998 millibars. Maximum sustained winds are 60 miles an hour. Motion is at 5 miles per hour to the northwest. North-northwest, I should say. So, still pretty much moving north. It's still just here. It's making its way around here. That is what we have there. We don't have any radar sites here in Mexico, so it's not much I can do right there. But yes, it will peak at about a Category 2. Not looking too good right now, as y'all can see the satellite imagery. Lots of deep convection in this area. Lots of lift happening in the atmosphere right now. Those water temperatures, again, are about 30, 31 degrees centigrade. That's 87, 88, 89 degrees Fahrenheit. There's not a lot of shear, and there's not really a whole lot of dry air. It's going to continue to say that this is not going to be able to open. See, with WSV3, it keeps saying it's not able to open, and it's not able to open this certain file. That file is there, and there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to open it. There's nothing causing it not to be able to open anything, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to delete WSV3 and like re-download it. It's going to be a pain in the ass. I don't want to do that, because if it still doesn't work, well then I'm going to have the exact same issue. But for right now, what I wanted to say is there's a lot of lift right now occurring in the atmosphere. So there's a lot of uplift, there's a lot of rising motion occurring in this part of the atmosphere, allowing for deep convection and deep thunderstorm activity right in this area. So this is making its way up to the northeast, and again in this area, in that part of Mexico, they're going to be having those watches and warnings are still in effect. Now, if I take a look at I want to take a look at different satellite imagery here. So the last visible images generally that we got going on here. So certainly can see all these outer bands pushing northward into portions of Mexico there. So they're already starting to get some rain, but right here near the core of the storm, right in this area is where you're going to have the most extreme and the most intense winds. Right now, those most intense winds are about 60 miles an hour. And those gusts probably reaching easily 70 miles an hour. And the storm is only going to strengthen further throughout the day. Again, winds 60 or so miles an hour. It has been moving very, very, very slowly. It has only moved at a crawling speed of 5 miles an hour the entire day, because it is trying to get around that ridge of high pressure. And as that high pressure moves, it is going to allow this thing to jet off to the north and to the east as the upper level disturbance develops and creates a trough. It's going to carry that out very nice and quickly. And it's going to speed up pretty quickly, or 20 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour probably. But that's what we got right now. 127 mile an hour wind gusts. So I do think this is going to be a very interesting storm to watch, especially as this approaches. Tomorrow being Sunday. So tomorrow, maybe later tonight, or even into tomorrow, we'll see this early tomorrow morning become a hurricane, and then by Monday afternoon, this is going to be making landfall in Mexico and bringing not very strong winds, but you're going to have winds of over 100 miles an hour. The only good news I can really put out of this is going to be clipping along at a pretty good pace. Bad news is it's going to be bringing in a lot of storm surge, a lot of flooding, a lot of heavy rain. Be very, very ugly and very, very rough. Kind of curious, are there any buoy observations out here? Are they all in the Gulf of Mexico? Ship observations. There's absolutely nothing out here, okay. But with what we got now, that's what we're looking at. Well, it's going to be a rough ride, unfortunately. Take a look at traditional. This is generally what we're looking at here. Very, very, very strong convection going on there. Kind of see that starting to wrap around. But once we start seeing this wrap around, that's when we could start seeing an eye wall really starting to develop. And this is really going to allow the storm to explode. I almost want to say violently, you know. It's going to really develop nicely. What's going on here? We have 600 frames were dropped. Alright, I'm going to have to figure out what's going on here. And figure out why this, hopefully nothing bad is going on the other end of this, because there could be a slight problem. Well, I don't think it's going to be a hurricane in the Gulf. I do, however, think it could become a tropical depression or a storm. Maybe a hurricane, but I think it's going to be more like in the Caribbean Sea, Southwest Atlantic. I don't think it's become a hurricane in the Gulf. Just don't see that happening. I do want to take a look at tropical tidbits. Satellite imagery. Again, lots of heavy rain, lots of flooding for sure. This is going to be the last bit of satellite imagery that we have of the storm. Before, as you can see, this is visible, so you can see this clearly. It's nighttime. But yeah, I want to notice that this is near the center of circulation, And in this specific area, there's going to be much more, this is where the core of the storm is, where you're going to have those strongest 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that's going to, go up to 70, 75, 80, all the way up to possibly 105 miles an hour as this storm begins to approach landfall in Mexico. But yeah, look at that. And I do think I'm starting to notice this could be trying to wrap around the center circulation, which is a sign of rapid intensification when you get big thunderstorm activity like this specifically. The reds, the whites, the blacks, the pinks. Okay, look at that. We're talking, look at this down here. Negative 80 degrees centigrade, all the way to like negative 90 it shows. Goes all the way down to negative 90 degrees centigrade. So I think, negative 80 degrees centigrade right here. So we're seeing extremely cold temperatures aloft. I mean, we're talking over 60,000 feet up. These hurricanes are huge vertical towers. Alright? But I'm noticing this is starting to wrap around the center circulation, and a potential eye wall could be developing. Now I need to take a look at a better look at this in terms of what the actual structure of this looks like. And for that we go to I didn't save it. It was, I'll go to Mike's weather page or Traffic, see what we got going on here. I don't know if this does East Pac also, or only the North Atlantic. I think it's only the North Atlantic. So I'm going to go to my Twitter page to see what we got out of this. I don't see any microwave imagery stuff here, which is really truthfully what I need right now. But what I can look at is the HWT millibar vorticity. It's going to help us get an idea of the structure of the storm. So if you take a look at HWT millibar vorticity, this is at 850 millibars. That's about 1 mile up, or about 5,280 feet above the surface of the ocean. And this kind of shows you the structure. The rounder the storm is, the more rounder it is, the healthier a storm is, meaning it's breathing well. There's a lot of convection going on. There's a lot of you get inflow at the low levels and outflow at the upper levels, because you get wind coming in at the top, up, and it spreads out. Okay, it allows it to breathe even better. So you have that going on here. Very, very well developed. Very, very good looking storm. And this is just basically talking about the structure. What does the structure look like? Essentially, what are the bones of the storm looking like, essentially? Is it looking good? And if it's looking good at this level, it's looking good, most likely looking good at the 200 millibar level, the 500 millibar level, the 850, and 1,000 millibar levels. So if it starts looking good at one level of the atmosphere, it's going to look good because they're vertical towers. So if they're vertically stacked systems. Okay? Because if you have shear, that's why if you have shear, you can't have a hurricane. Because they're vertical, you have a vertical system like this, you will wind shear blowing it, it's going to be tilted. Alright? And it's not going to be able to build vertically, and you're not going to get a very well developed storm. A good example of a heavily sheared storm was Hurricane Nicholas. It actually made landfall at 75 miles an hour. Very, very low end hurricane. The lowest low end. It's only barely a hurricane there. And it had winds of 75, but it was so sheared. It had no eye. I guess you can kind of say an eye wall, because there were periods where the winds were just pounding at 70, 75 miles an hour, gusting to over 80 miles an hour, and there was storm surge with it also. But it was sheared, and if that shear wasn't there, it could have been a much more intense hurricane, because the water temperatures were just simply so warm. for the U.S. No, not careers. Hold up, it's the United States Navy. What I need is United States Navy. I give up, bro. Fuck it. Screw it. You know, I'm just like, can't find it really. Like, I know what I'm looking for, but I need to save it when I'm on my off time. But that's one of the things I was noticing is we're starting to get some. This is starting to go up like that, and as we see that happening, we could see an eye wall and a potential eye begin to develop out of this. If anyone has any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to go in the chat and ask. But for right now, that's really going to be it. We're going to continue to closely monitor the development of this system in the future. I don't have my phone. And if y'all have any questions, you can email me at hurricanewatchteam@gmail.com. Let's see what we got going on here. Move this over here. Looks like it's going up and right. Yeah, it's going up northeast, you can say. So if you go here to the National Hurricane Center, it's going to be going to the northeast. So northeast, which is this direction. It is going to produce incredible surf. Something I don't recommend doing unless I guess you're a professional surfer or whatever. But I personally don't recommend surfing in this because this is, again, a hurricane coming. Soon to be a hurricane, I should say. I don't want to say it is a hurricane. But soon to be a hurricane, as it could have winds, again, of over 100 miles an hour in the eye wall. And we'll see what else we see with this system. Now, that's probably going to be it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe. If you want to, you can join our Discord server. We do have a Discord server. I'm working on it to make it better. With all that being said, that's me for today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, evening, or day, or whenever you're watching this. Evening, most likely. And that is going to be it. I will continue to watch this system closely as this potential eye wall begins to develop and possibly form. Kind of scary if you think about an eye wall beginning to develop and form. Again, if this happens, so why is this system moving so slowly? It's trying to go to the north, right? There's high pressure up to the north, and so it's compressing it. It is pushing the storm farther south, and it's not able to go north. And so it's being pushed off to the east, but it's trying to go north. Alright, trying to go north and then to the east. But it's being pushed down. Kind of see how the clouds are kind of being compressed here. They're not just expanding like this. There's high pressure compressing. You can kind of see how these clouds fizzle up. That's high pressure and probably drier air up there, compressing it and pushing it farther south. Which is why the storm is starting to slow down. It's going to make a turn to the east. The high pressure is going to move all the way. There's going to be an upper level trough that's going to come through, and it's just going to jet out over Mexico. Now, this isn't going to be like 50 miles an hour. It's not going to go that fast. But we're going to be, I expect, 10, 15, probably even as high as close to 20 miles an hour as it moves over Mexico. And that's really the reason why it's moving so slow. It's moving at 5 miles an hour. Because it's trying to go north, but it's being pushed off to the east. Or it's being pushed, being kind of like compressed and suppressed right now. How do you make the whole cyclone visible? I just zoom out. That's literally it. If that's what you mean, you'll have to DM me on Instagram. I mean, God, good Lord, Discord. Just go to my Discord and yeah. And you can DM me there. Alright, well, that's probably going to be it for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, that's it. I will talk to everybody tomorrow. I will continue doing updates through Instagram. Might do a little few updates on through the YouTube discussion area. But yeah, that's me for today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.